What's a game that stands out to you as particularly one you're proud of? Or
There's a game that I won against Boris Gelfand in 2010 where I offered a queen stack, I think on 5 consecutive moves.
What? That sounds pretty. That must be an eye candy exactly for us. So let's bring in the boys to show us something beautiful. Let's just run through the opening. It's a typical King's Indian defense. Very popular because it's dangerous, but it's also very risky, which we will certainly experience in this game. So it's very typical in the King's Indian that black will expand on the king side with all his pawns thrown to the king that will probably get weak, while white will expand on the queen side and try to make those pawns weak there on c7 and d6. Funny is that actually both sides are trying to ignore each other a little bit here, which we will really see here in the next 5 to 10 moves where they're really just doing their plan individually. And if white is not being mated by black, he will just simply win because he just won the queen side completely. And here's a moment where we can really learn something, because what if white would play h3 here? He would argue, I've built a wall, you cannot get through. However, this is quite the opposite, as this is actually more of a hook, as we call it in chess, which is something you can attach your attack to, a way to get through. And that's a big no-no in the King's Indian, because black can just put his pieces and attack with sacrifices. So instead, white deviated with putting his king to the corner. It's a little bit complicated, this position, for the next couple of moves, but all you should know is that it's all about getting ahead of the other person in their strategy. And getting ahead of your opponent's strategy is exactly what Nakamura is doing here, with our first beauty move of the game, which is knight takes g2. And what? First of all, we really have to understand what would happen if white would take back. Then the rook would jump into the attack, and the attack could probably develop along the lines of this with a knight sacrifice, and then the queen jumps into the attack, and despite black having sacrificed 2 minor pieces, the king is drowning here. White could probably have defended a little bit better, but it's really difficult getting attacked like this. In the game, Gelfand proceeded with his queenside attack with d takes c7, but that's actually a mistake, because Nakamura saw something really sweet here, our next beauty move, knight takes e1, which is the first queen sacrifice, which cannot be accepted because of the g2 mate, so that knight must be taken. But then a little cute move g2 check, which brings a little more time for black's attack to develop here. Because when white's king tries to hide here on h1, we can finally develop that bishop to h3 with a little threat of bishop d2. White must accept to cover that threat with bishop f1 here. And here comes another queen sacrifice from Nakamura. The beauty move, queen d3. And how pretty is that? It comes with the threat of queen takes f3 mate. It disrupts white's coordination completely here. And it's game over here, because white cannot cover all his minor pieces when he has to account for that mate on g2. So black first take one of the knights on c3, and then the other knight on e5. And white has the joy of getting that queen finally, but he only has that queen for a little while. And then after the rook takes back on c8, queen e6 seals the deal as Gelfand resigned. After the head count, he realized that he simply is a knight down. What a game! I really do understand why this is Nakamura's favorite. Did you find this video helpful or entertaining? Then I'll do many more of these in the future, so subscribe to jump along on the journey. Take a look at this video, and I will see you in the next one.